faith. Don't miss the opportunity. You know, the first Christians lived lives of debauchery. Most of them. Especially those in Corinth. That was a terrible place. But they had a faith that taught them that once they had these clean sheet, they could seek, desire, and obtain heaven. Why? Because God is Father. God is Father. But you see, their faith was so real that when they were put in an arena and had to face lions, when Peter was crucified upside down, when Andrew was crucified on an X kind of cross, when Bartholomew was flayed alive, that's pretty gory. What kept them going? The power of God. And when St. Stephen was stoned to death, read it in Acts of Apostles, he saw heaven open up and he saw Jesus to the right hand of the Father. And as they were stoning him to death, his face glowed like an angel. And he said, Father, forgive them. I commend my spirit to you. See, we got to find out, what did those first Christians have that you and I today lack? And what is it that has smothered real Christianity from our hearts? What is it in your life and my life that smothers the real truth? What is covering it over? Is it riches? Is it a desire for glory, human glory? Is it lust? Is it alcohol? Is it sex? What is it? Is it pride? What is it, my friends, that covers up the glory of the kingdom and what is to come from our eyes and makes us desire what is the least? What is it, or who is it, that blinds our eyes to the point where I desire to live in a mud shack rather than a mansion? What is it in my life and your life that distorts life so badly? See, holiness in this life is not difficult. You know what holiness consists of? The will of God. There's 3 words. The will of God. You know what Our Lady of Fatima told the children at Fatima? I'm not going to get gory now. You know what she told them? She said, what is the penance of today? The penance of today, this is 1917, is to be faithful to the duties of your state in life. To be faithful to the duties of your state in life. To cling to God. To be faithful to His rule, His law, and His church. That's what it means to be holy. It's not hard. You know, my friends, we need to understand that around us is a kind of shield. A shield. And that shield is a kind of like a saran wrap. A little cloud saran wrap. And we keep looking through it and we strain our eyes to work through all the things in the world that are kind of keeping the real vision and the real goal of life from ever entering into our hearts. And that's what I want these programs the next few weeks to tear off, to tear away. so that you are people of God who know where they are and where they're going. Why don't you think about that a little bit, huh? A lot of people argue about heaven. They like to argue about things they're not too sure about, because then nobody knows when they're wrong. And some of the things they like to argue about is heaven a state or is it a place? Okay, what do I mean by a state? It's something within yourself, a frame of mind, an attitude of heart, or is it a definite place? Now, let's look at what Jesus said. That's what you got to go by. Don't go by what Angelica says. Go what Jesus says. In the 3rd chapter of John, in the 13th verse, I want you to listen to this. He says, "No one has gone up to heaven except the one who came down from heaven." Now listen to this. This is really going to mix you up. The Son of Man who is in heaven. Now, I want you to understand this, because it'll tell you a lot about heaven. We're going to go over this again. No one has gone up to heaven except the one who came down. So now we're being told that heaven is a what? A place. A definite place. Now, he says, and the Son of Man, and the Son of Man who is in heaven. Now, we know that in Jesus, he was both divine and human. He had one divine personality. He had a human nature and a divine nature. So he had two natures, but one person, one divine personality. So the Lord's, in his divinity, it was always in heaven. But in his heart, the kingdom of heaven, the Lord said, is within you. I want you to turn to John 14. Will you do that? John 14. In John 14, the 23rd verse, he says something else. He says, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and the Father will love him, and we will come and make our home in him. So now we know that heaven is a place and a state. It's something I am inside because I am with God. God is in me, and it is a place. When we die, our bodies stay here. They go back to the dust from which they were created. But our souls rise, and they are, the first thing you see when you die is Jesus. The first thing you see is Jesus.